Middle East tensions rising this morning in a new video posted to YouTube. An al-Qaeda branch in Yemen is now threatening to kill an American hostage if the group's demands are not met in 3 days. The hostage has been identified as 33-year-old Luke Sommers, a photojournalist captured more than 1 year ago. With more, I want to bring in Fox News correspondent and former U.S. Navy officer Leah Gabrielle. Todd Schoenberger is still with us as well. Leah, what do you know the latest on this?
Well, the latest we know is that they've put out this video that's very similar to what we've been seeing from the Islamic State group or ISIS. And, as a former intelligence officer, what this says to me is that, in Yemen, taking of hostages, it has been kind of a common practice for ransoms and that type of thing. But now we're seeing AQAP, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, the Al-Qaeda group there, trying to use these tactics that they basically see working for ISIS to promote their propaganda, to try to promote their message.
And obviously this is coming after a string of hostages and attempts like this. This only further threatens the geopolitical situation that we face in this country from a defense standpoint.
That's right. I mean, a number of things here. One, Americans don't want to see these images on TV either, and so you have to worry about the hostage. And also, going back to I have to go back to the oil argument with this, is because of the geopolitical risks that are taking place right now. I mean, oil is oxygen in that region. So when you start fighting and you start taking hostages and you're threatening, and that's the problem with oil, is that it's an enviable business model. Whenever we hear this stuff, oil prices tend to rise because there's a certain attack or these types of killings that take place.
So what message is the United States taking from this? Because in this video that we now know of, a failed operation is mentioned that left these militants dead. It was described as the latest foolish action by the United States. What does this mean, or what does this reflect about our image globally?
Well, first of all, they're calling it a failed mission, but it wasn't a failed mission. It failed to recover all of the hostages and all the people that were being held captive. This is propaganda. The leader, again, he basically claims of American crimes against the Muslim world in this video. This is an attempt at putting propaganda out there, and it's an attempt at using this propaganda tool to say that they're stronger than they are. From an American intelligence community perspective, in some ways, this is a sign of a weakness. The fact that they're using propaganda as a weapon because they're being squeezed and because they're tired of being hit by drone attacks. They've become unpopular in Yemen, obviously. And so this is a bit of a sign of a weakness that they're having to use to resort to propaganda to try to get this message out there and to try to put a squeeze on the U.S.
What are next steps from a military strategic standpoint? I know there are some on the table, but in your opinion, with your background in intelligence, what do you see as the best options from here?
Well, I think a big part of the reason that the Islamic State group, ISIS, has become so well known is because of the videos that they've been putting out there. So this propaganda is very effective because it hits home with us when we see this, when we see our own people, in these dangerous. Exactly, it is effective. But the military doesn't just start scrambling and jumping around when this kind of thing happens. I mean, the people that are being held captive, the intelligence community is aware of, has been aware for a long time. I can tell you from my own personal experience when I was in Afghanistan, we did have Westerners who were being held captive by various terrorist organizations in the region, and we were constantly watching those groups. We were constantly looking for information, talking to our human sources that were in the region to find out where they were, to get any information that we could from them. But their demands is for us to pay a ransom. That's what they want. And really, I mean, they want to use this as an effective tool, a weapon. And I just don't see the U.S. pandering to that. I see us continuing to work together to try to gather the information necessary to see if a rescue is possible, but I don't think we're just going to scramble just because they put out a video.
Because the U.S. stance is to never negotiate with terrorists.
That's what we say. Now, there's always, of course, the conversations that will happen with other countries, with third parties, and that type of thing that we're not going to hear about publicly. And quite honestly, I don't know what kinds of conversations are happening in this particular case. What I do know is that our intelligence community is working very hard right now to figure out if there's a way for us to rescue him.
Okay.